Okay. Okay, so I want to thank all of you for joining the Last Words with Babs podcast. I've got a special guest uh, um, with me today, Kassandra Gordon. Um, how are you doing? And let my fans know who you are. And yeah.
Okay, my name is Kassandra Lauren Gordon. I am a multidisciplinary artist, but the main medium, what people know me for, is jewelry. I make fine jewelry. So my bread and butter, people would say, would making engagement rings, wedding rings, anything in gold, platinum. So I'm the person to go to, but I do films. I'm a filmmaker as well. I am a poet and a cultural producer. So anything creative, that's me. And also I have a podcast called the Black Creative Handbook to help creatives to succeed and navigate these spaces, because these spaces can be hard, especially when you don't have lots of social capital or creatives around you. Or if your mom and dad told you, you must be a doctor, lawyer, or an accountant, and how you can navigate. And if you're creative, how to navigate around those type of things. Yeah, so that's me.
Perfect. So basically, we'll just sort of get to know you better. So how did you start on this journey to obviously having a podcast, your jewelry business? How did those things sort of start for you in your like childhood or when you're a bit younger?
Oh, so I didn't come to be a jeweler until my 20s. So I did, the normal things what your parents want you to do, go to university. I didn't know why I was going to university, but I just went. And I did an evening course in Kensington College in London about making a silver ring. And I thought, that is cool, making a silver ring. And then I just end up just doing lots of courses and self-teach myself. That's how I got into jewelry. But when I was little, I did like a bit of beading, to be honest. And when I was little, my mom, when I was 9 years old, gave me a locket. And my parents are from Jamaican background, so there's not the typical like, oh, I love you, let's talk about feelings and all that kind of stuff. But I remember she gave me a gold locket, and I knew, I don't know what it was, but I felt in my soul that it was so important, this piece of jewelry, and she loved me. Also, I knew my mom loved me before, but it was kind of enhanced or on steroids when I knew when I had this gold locket. And I always felt like jewelry is a thing which means love, either for yourself or when you give to others. And jewelry just strengthens relationships, and it tells stories, and such a great conversation starter as well. So yeah, that's my world in jewelry. So for the last 10, 11 years, that's been my life. Jewelry, jewelry, jewelry.
That's really intriguing to sort of find out, because there's not many people who I know who make jewelry or are really into jewelry like that. So that's really cool. In terms of like, do you have any advice for anybody who wants to start like a jewelry business, or just a business in general, or wants to start a podcast, or any sort of thing that sort of that sort of needed to have that sort of skill set? Do you have any advice for for them?
Yeah, I would say that no matter what creative path, if you're a jeweler, do your podcast, you have to be super intentional. You can't just go there out with a whim. You got to have a clear vision about where you want to go. You might not know all of the steps, but you have to be super intentional about what you want to do, and have that self-belief, because your parents, your partner, your friends might not always understand what you're doing. So if you go to them and you're insecure, you might, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? They're going to say no. They want to keep you safe. They're going to be very risk averse. So if you want to do something, make sure that you're going to take the risk, and you're going to be 10 toes down in what you're going to do, and just follow that vision until you get there, no matter how long it takes there. Because sometimes in Instagram life, everyone portrays that they got the whole life worked out, and in real life it's not always like that way. So
No, that's really cool. That's the same sort of thoughts that I was sort of thinking about just having that focus of what you want to do, not letting other people's opinions or thoughts get too much in your head, because then that sort of stop you from sort of for for um for sort of going for what you sort of want to do as well. So yeah, that's sort of good advice. Trying to think of another question to ask. Okay. Let's just say about how did you get into? You said you did multidisciplinary. Uh, multi. What's the
Artist.
what? Huh?
I said I was a multidisciplinary artist. So I
Yeah,
do different
yeah.
disciplines in art. Hmm.
Okay, that's really interesting because I've never really seen or heard of that phrase before, so it's quite intriguing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of used in the art world. Maybe it's overused where people are doing visuals, or do something physical, they might do a bit of poetry. So it's just an amalgamation, just a collection of things I do. But the one thing I'm known for is a jeweler. So sometimes people ask me, "What do you do?" I say jeweler. It's just easier just to say than say, "Oh, by the way, I've got a film which has been accepted in the London Independent Film Awards, which comes out next month. By the way,
Oh,
I have an exhibition, art exhibition comes out." It's very hard to tell people, because when you tell people think like, sometimes you're crazy, like you're doing 10 million things, like who are you? So sometimes in
yeah.
society, I just try to make things easier for people. Just say, I'm a jeweler. I make jewelry for a living.
All right, all right. So, how was your like journey been from obviously school days when you were in school to now? Like if you had to give like some advice or some thoughts on what sort of helped you to get to where you are now, and
Oh gosh,
you
that's
know.
that's the wrong question. As soon as you say school, I was like, oh, I hate school. I hate school. Um, oh God, I mean, maybe that's another question. But how did I get here? I mean,
Mm,
that's why I did the podcast Black Creative Handbook. I don't want people to follow some of my path. I don't want them, because it was a waste of time. It's like I
mm,
didn't have back then, when I was going to school, I didn't have YouTube and podcasts where I found there's people like me. I felt I was very lonely in my adolescence, and it really upset me because I couldn't find people like me. I was always thinking a bit differently. And because I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have the social capital, people around me, I just went with the wind, wasn't very intentional, did what people want me to do, and I wasted a lot of time. So that's why I go with the advice is like, if you know what you want to do, just be super intentional, and that will save you a lot of time, and it will attract the people you want in your life and what you want to do. And I'm trying now in my life to just try to get people who are, like-minded like yourself around me, and try to have that around, because when times gets tough, you're like, oh, or should I, or you think, oh, things are not working out, but you need to stay on that course of plan, or that on that route. You surround yourself digitally or in your real life with good people. You can always bounce back ideas, get that social support, and make sure that you're following your goals or where you need to go to.
yeah. I totally agree with you because one thing that I love doing is finding other people who are either in a similar journey or who have been where I'm trying to be, and build that relationship with them because that sort of that sort of friendship um and relationship can help you to go further and help you to grow. Um, so yeah, that's one thing that I advise, and is one thing that I love doing as well. It's me and other people in general, but also me and other people who are in a similar niche and journey to where I'm going, because they can help me to go forwards, and and we can help each other to go forward as well. So that's one thing that so I really do appreciate those sort of thoughts as well. So yeah, that's great. I'm trying to think. Okay. So what sort of your like main topics that you talk about on your podcast for you normally with your like guests and stuff?
It's about yeah, supporting Black creatives
Mm,
across the world. I talk to Black creatives across the world about their discipline, about how they navigate through certain things. Because on YouTube and Instagram, this is one of the things I say, don't follow me per se. I mean, before I got here, before I did the podcast, because because I didn't have much people around me who were creative, I used to feel very like stuck, and I didn't trust my gut, I didn't trust myself, I didn't believe in myself to the fullest ability, where I do courses or I pay consultants money for strategies and business, and I knew what to do. But I thought, oh, because that person got qualification, or because they have so much followers, I'll do their course. And then I'm like, I could have got this free information from YouTube. Like, why am I paying X amount of pounds for these courses or these memberships and stuff like that? So I'm giving the same value, the same information, where these like YouTubers and these gurus, these marketers are like, if you do my course, you're gonna earn X amount, and I'm like, the information is free. The information is free. Don't spend your money on those courses. No, unless you're gonna pay someone to do it for you. There's no need. You got to do all these courses, man. Some of them are con, but some of them are good. But most of them are cons, in my opinion. If you just do the work, if you do the research and you do the work, there. So what I'm trying to say in my podcast, if the podcast is for people who wants to get from A to B, who knows that you have to do hard work, who knows that it's not easy, and how to navigate through these spaces. When I say spaces, sometimes white spaces for a Black artist. So I'll give you an example. So as a jeweler, I got an interview for I'm not going to say who it is, but like a well-known fashion foundation. So they usually pick like the best kind of artists in London, and they give them a residency to use their space and use their name and stuff like that. And they saw my jewelry online. They must have saw it, but they called me for an interview anyway. And the person was just like, your stuff is basically, she didn't say the word, but basically, where's your culture? I don't see your Jamaican heritage. I'm like, my stuff got cornrows on my jewelry. How ethnic and how Black do you want me to be? But it wasn't, because it wasn't like a coconut, or it wasn't a coffee bean, or it wasn't what white people think what is ethnic. I didn't get accepted in this prestigious fashion residency thing. And it's really frustrating, because when you doubt yourself, it's like, okay, where do you get your validation as an artist? Is it with people who don't understand your culture and how you see the world? And why are you always burdened, or usually Black or brown artists always burdened of like always displaying their heritage? You don't go to an English artist and say, well, you didn't do fish and chips in your art, therefore you're not British, or you didn't talk about soccer or football. But it's all, so don't, it's exploring those type of narratives what Black artists or Black creatives have to go through, and just being support for one another and trying to make it as a community. I'm not always about, saying negative things. There is joy. There's so much stuff from Black creatives, like, we do so much. We give the world so much. And it's just celebrating that as well. We give the world so much, like hip hop, reggae, dancehall, food, clothes, swag, everything. And sometimes in the world, people don't want to give us our shine. I'm just like, I'm not looking for you to give shine. I know it, I feel it, I do it, and it is what it is. So I just want to be around, creatives who understand that. I want to help each other and just navigate through these channels from A to B.
That seems really really powerful. I feel, I'm not sure how you feel about it, but I feel like a lot of Black creatives don't necessarily work together. They sort of see each other as they're sort of trying to reach the top. So they feel that the other Black person is trying to fight for their spot. So they're sort of like arguing and having that fight between each other. They're not necessarily helping each other to sort of go forwards and sort of grow as a two or as a three or as a community in general. They sort of end up trying to fight against each other because they feel that they have to be number one, and because of how the world is sort of portrayed and stuff, they don't really see being together as a whole can help you to get further than you just being, you just sort of doing it by yourself. So, but yeah, that's really cool.
Preach to the choir. Why do you say that? Why do you say that? Before I give you my whole life story, why do you say that? What made you come to that conclusion?
Just from what I've seen, not necessarily in my life, but just on YouTube and on different other platforms where I see a lot of Black people on there who are doing great stuff, but they're not necessarily helping each other to go forward. They're attacking each other either on YouTube or other platforms, and they're not necessarily. But I think if I'm being honest, I think now I'm sort of seeing it more like opposite way. I'm seeing like a lot of people like certain like community like awards, Black awards on YouTube and other sort of platforms supporting Black people. And I thought also my friend also who's got a podcast with his friends and stuff. They sort of brought me on as well, and I sort of saw how much of the community is sharing different people's opinions and having us as a podcasters and as people being together, sharing our opinions of views in certain topics, and having that forum to be able to share it as well was really great to see. So I think now there's a lot of people who I see in my life now who are together trying to build each other up. So yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't know if it's a British Black thing, because the way how we, being Black is such a contested term, but because when I talk to African Americans, Black Americans, they will help you. You say, hey, I think it's in their culture just to help anybody, and there's a bigger Black population in America, and they came on, I guess, not giving too much a history lesson, they came on the American soil in the same way. 1 minute they were slaves, and then 1 minute they're free men, and or free women or free humans. And if you can't hear this in audio, I'm doing it freeness in air quotes. But the way how I don't know what your heritage is, but the way how Black people came into Britain, it's such a divide and rule, conquer, random, strategic way where we're all divided, where we, there's distrust, we don't know our tribes. I'm from a Jamaican heritage, I don't even know my proper lineage properly, only to my great grandma, so it's like I was saying to someone yesterday, it's like the Idris Elba effect. It's like, why did Idris Elba have to go to America to be big? If he stayed here, we'd probably doing the Bill or Casualty all his life. No one wants to give him a chance. Only one Black actor, in these TV shows and stuff like that, and they're always begging for representation. That's just go to the States. Why did Estelle? Like, I love Estelle before American Boy came out, and she raps and she was amazing. Why did Flochi had to go to America? Because we our own don't support here unless we're validated by Americans, or you have to be grime. You have to be super grime, which I love grime. I'm not custom grime. You have to be super the aesthetic of the Council Estate Chronicles, or you have to be validated by America, or you're validated by the mass white mainstream people. You can't be in between. And I find that a bit tricky as a jeweler, where I don't do bust down jewelry. I love, but I'm a lover of jewelry. But do you understand what I mean by bust down jewelry?
Yeah. No, tell me.
So bust, like the like the bling jewelry, like
yeah.
if I was a Chelsea footballer, I have everything like encrusted. Not like I can't make it. I have like the bust down watches and the Rolexes and because Black people, I see them like they do spend money on those type of things, but not like I don't do diamonds. I do. Most of my engagement rings and stuff are full of diamonds. So what I'm trying to say is, like, unfortunately, most people who buy from me are white people, which is great. I don't discriminate. I want everyone to buy from me. I want to be inclusive. But I would love to have more support from my Black. Like, I'll give you an example. I won an award, a jury award, for one of my designs. I put it on an American Facebook group, right? And these African Americans, they just bought it. They were supporting me, buying it like it was like 100 quid. It like just bought my jewelry, put it up in British places, crickets. You know what I mean? It's just a bit of a, I don't know why. I feel like I have to break in America, do an Idris Elba before someone in the Black community, really. But it's changed a little bit. I do like this week I've made some wedding rings for some Black couples. I haven't done that in a long time. It's some, it's getting there. I hope people can spread the word. But there are Black jewelers who will look after your needs, who can make your wedding rings and your engagement rings and can make your jewelry. You don't always have to go to, get grills and stuff like that. There is a diversity. So I went off on a tangent, but what I'm trying to say to you, even though there are difficulties, I'm just trying to stay positive and just hope that good work will be there and word of mouth will be there. And my Black sisters and brothers in Britain will help and support, either way, validated by the Black community or not. Hopefully, they'll just know about me and I can serve my community the best way I can.
Yeah. I think it's all about sharing. Also, as well as that, it's about sharing each other's work or each other's brands and businesses. I think sharing it and supporting it helps you to grow and helps you to find a whole new reach. And so I think it's tough because I agree totally with your point, because even in terms of music, you're saying a lot of artists have to go, they don't really truly make it in the music industry until they're known in America, until they blow up in America. Then they come back to the UK or to where they're from, and and do music. So I think that's a thing where I'm not sure if we'd ever really find out their roots as to why that is. But I feel maybe we need more people making themselves or building themselves here and really blowing up here, to have people to sort of look up to who are making it, and then can sort of build stuff here instead of having to go to other places, really blow up ourselves and stuff. So it's tricky.
It's tricky.
Yeah. What? Well. Do you have any more things that you? Oh, okay. Actually, I've got all my things actually. Okay. So basically, do you have maybe 5 tips from your journey or from you creating your jewelry and everything else? Do you have any maybe 5 to 10 tips to people who maybe, as I was saying before, we want to start a business and maybe want to do podcasts and we want to really go away from the normal sort of life, should I say? We really want to build something great and really help people, inspire people. Do you have maybe 5, 10 tips for how they can go about sort of doing that? You want any tips for them?
I don't have 10. I don't even have 5.
I have 5.
I don't even have 5. I think I can do 3. I can't do that much.
I think that's 5.
It's like a KFC bucket of me of do that. I don't think I can do that. I manage your expectations. My expectations. I can't become 10 things. So what you're asking me is, how do people, if they want to get into a certain business or start something creative, right? What are some tips they should do to make sure that they really go for it?
Yeah.
I think it goes back to what I said about being intentional, making sure that you have good people around you, and the vision and the plan, having a plan, having something. Those are the things. And excuse me, and just be careful of social media. I know it sounds obvious, but just be careful of social media, because people think that your life is all going to be sorted by the time you're 25 or 30. Some people are getting upset that their boyfriend's not buying them Birkins. I'm just like, who can do that in their 20s? Apart from if you're a rapper. So, or a big rapper, that is. So it is what it is. So yeah, I don't know, you do podcasting, you're in the creative, digital content world. So what do you think make people very, successful in these fields?
I'd say just networking is important. I would say working hard obviously is a given. I'd say having a vision of what you want to talk about. What sort of makes you want to wake up in the morning, you know have that sort of drive to really speak on a passion of yours that you're really passionate about. And then I'd probably say ooh, I'd probably say be patient and think long term, because I think like a lot of people want instant success or instant um fame and stuff like that as well. But I think having a long term goal they sort of want to achieve, and having a plan of maybe each year what they want to achieve as well, can help you to be humble and really sort of do do different the right way, I would say, as well. So yeah.
Ooh. No, you had about 10 tips. You're better than me. You can write a book on it. You're better than me. I couldn't think of all those things. I just said repeat the same things I said. So thank you for that. Thank you for
That's all right.
elaborating and really going it deep, doing a deep dive on that.
All right. So yeah, I want to thank you, Cassandra, for coming on. I really do appreciate it more than you know. And where can people find you? Where are you on? And how can people get see your work and maybe buy from you?
Okay, so there's a lot of things. Depends when this stuff has come out, but you can reach me on Instagram at KLG Jewellery, the British spelling, KLG Jewellery. My website is www.klgjewelry.com. I have the Black Creative Handbook podcast, which hopefully be in the show notes. But if you just type Black, or you can put at Black Creative Handbook on Instagram, or you can find me on Anchor, Spotify, all of the channels where you can talk, want to connect and listen to the pros out there in the creative fields, the best of the best, and
Yeah.
seeing what they're doing. I've been accepted my film called Gemstones, Lessons in Unconditional Love, which is about Black womanhood, looking at the legacies, looking at Black womanhood, and looking at the multifacetedness of it in a humane way, looking at two pairs of moms and daughters, just going into that. And I think it's very important because, especially happening recently with schoolgirl Q in Hackney, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So the Black girl in Hackney who was strip searched on her period, because they don't see us as human. They don't see us as human. The world doesn't, why the world don't see us as human. So it's important to have positive images of Black women just being human in their home, because obviously Black families as delinquent. Black women ain't nothing, Jezebels, over sexualized, aggressive, rare. And that's why I felt so passionate of doing this film, this documentary. So that's accepted for the London Independent Film Award, London Independent Film Festival, which is in Mile End. It's in Genesis Cinema. It's on the 2nd of April at 7 p.m. We'll be premiering there. And the other thing, what I'm doing from the end of next month is doing my public art exhibition. The project is called Tailor Made, and it's done with conjunction with a cancer scientist called Aisha, where we look at the relationship between cancer and jewelry. So we've worked over the last year talking to people who've been affected by cancer directly or indirectly, and they look at Aisha's research. Aisha's research is really cutting edge science, where she uses special staining technology with lots of microscopes and staining, looking at cells and looking at all the characteristics of cells and see how they behave. Because if you see how cells behave, especially cancer cells, how they behave, the more information we have about that, the more information we could look at cancer treatment and make it very bespoke and more likely to have success when the treatment happen. So just like me as a bespoke jeweler, people come to me, they want something tailor-made, something which they want is something unique and personalized. So personalize the cancer treatment, personalize the jewelry, and get people put it together and get people affected by cancer to tell their own stories and narratives. So how do you do that? We talk to them, show them research about themselves, find out about their cancer journey, and then they design their own jewelry. This was all done remotely because of what you call it, lovely COVID, not lovely, but COVID and lockdown times. And then I made the jewelry for them, and it goes in the exhibition. There'll be a photo book, there'll be a documentary, and there will be their jewelry and portraits there. It's very important because cancer affects 1 in 2 people, so we don't really talk about it. Everyone knows someone's affected by cancer, but we never talk about death and talk about cancer, what affects so many. And it's such, these people go through so much horrible things, but there's so much hope, and we want to just show that and break those social taboos. So that's all on me. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed this. Thank you for letting me come onto your platform.
No problem. It's powerful what you're doing, and I'm glad to have had you on the podcast and to know you now, and see what wonderful things are doing. I think we need more people like you, sort of doing some great stuff for people and really helping people to really change their lives. And so I want to thank you for coming on. Hopefully I can come into your podcast and really sort of share me as well. And I want to thank you for coming on. You'll be listening to the Last Words with that podcast. I thank all of you for tuning in from wherever you are in the world, and I hope you have a blessed and lovely week. Peace and love.